This year, I had the opportunity to visit a country that I'd always wanted to go to for its spectacular scenery and also its warm sunshine. And when I got there, I found also the people were incredibly warm too, and there was a strong expat community. That country was Portugal. I arrived as a stranger, but I left as I feel like I'd left home. It was just the most amazingly comfortable and warm place to be. Now, International Living has written this article for us on all the places that you can see in Portugal in 7 days, because they are very much of the belief that you don't have to just move abroad and stay there forever, without going and testing it out first. So the recommendation is that you read the article and in their report, and then just look at this itinerary and consider it as the way to see Portugal in just 7 days. Now, the place you need to go is internationalliving.com/60andme, and then you just request their latest report, which is on retiring in Europe. And there's no obligation. You just give them your email address and they will send you the link to this report. Now, I'm going to skim through this 7 days because there's so much to talk about, specific places, hotels and sites that you might want to visit, restaurants, just things that you may not know about. But if you follow the guidelines in this 7-day itinerary, you will see Portugal. You will see it all. And, you can cruise the River Douro. You can lay on the beaches of the Algarve. You can taste amazing food in little cafes and roadside markets. You can explore the Roman ruins and the hills of Lisbon. And then you can, just look. Oh, there's a church in Porto where you can see 650 pounds of gold plating. There's some amazing things to see. History and pleasure, you can get both in Portugal. It's quite remarkable. So you can do this all in 1 week. 7 days. And in those 7 days, you may just decide that this is a place for you. This is a place where you'd like to retire. And there's plenty of other options in Europe too. Check out the report by International Living. Now, here's the 7-day itinerary. Now, I actually stayed in Porto. And that's where International Living suggests that you start your trip. Fly into Porto, get rid of your bag really quickly, and then head down to the Rua Katherina. Rua Katherina is one of the main streets through Porto. It's like the shopping street. It's got beautiful cafes, quite ornate and gorgeous cafes, and delicious foods. And then shops, boutique shops, and the regular ones that you might want to find. It's just an experience. And from there, you can look at the buildings with the beautiful white and blue tiles. It's just a remarkable place. The train station, by the way, in Porto is white and blue tiles. It's just incredible. I love Porto. But you can visit the Café Belle Époque for coffee, and one of my favorite places, which is the Lellow Bookstore. Now, the Lellow Bookstore is right in the center of the kind of old town of Porto, and it's a beautiful bookstore. It's one of the most beautiful in the world. It's actually documented as one of the top 5. And when you go early. It gets very busy, and you go in, and the shelves just go up to this several floors. But there's a staircase that goes up, and it's a circular staircase. And apparently, it was the inspiration for J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. Now, J.K. Rowling actually lived in Porto. She taught English there, and that was supposed to be her inspiration for that staircase in her book. Now, you can walk along the riverbank of the Douro. I've never seen such beautiful sunsets from where I was staying, just opposite the Lellow Bookstore. You could actually go down, and the sunsets were sparkling, gold, orange, just beautiful, very unspoilt too. Or you can cross over the river on the Saint Louis Bridge and visit Gaia. And Gaia is where the ships all line up to take you on the Douro cruises. And that's another amazing opportunity, which they suggest, International Living suggests you consider for day 2. So spend your night in Porto, and then in the morning go over early to Gaia and get on a ship and go on the Douro River. It's the port country, so all the vegetation is so lush and green, and you can stop off and have a port tasting, or just learn more about the port industry in Portugal. They're centuries old. They're really beautiful buildings and very unique. So that's the thing to do on the next day. You can then drive up north up the coast to there's one called Braga, a town called Braga, stunning cathedral and gardens there, or up to Estoril. Sende, which is on the Atlantic Ocean. It's where the Douro and Atlantic Ocean meet. And that's really remarkable. That's a cool experience where the river meets the ocean. And you could have a lunch at the waterfront cafe. It's just so much to choose from. Now, the other thing on day 3 and 4 suggests that you go down to Lisbon. Now, by the way, I'm really skimming through this so quickly. In the article on our website and also in their report, you'll find just so much information, specific details, but I'll just kind of give you the highlights and whet your appetite for really beautiful Portugal. I'm getting excited just talking about it. I loved it. So day 3, drive down to Lisbon. Lisbon is 3 hours south of Porto, and you can climb when you get there the Castelo São Jorge, and it's a big mountain or hill, and you can climb up if you like, or they have tuk-tuks. And by the way, I took a tuk-tuk in Porto, and it's the best way to see the town. You get all the little secret places. The drivers are wonderful, and they speak English beautifully, and it was just a lot of fun. But that's the best view of Lisbon, according to International Living, and that's where they suggest you stand and take in the 7 hills of Lisbon, 7 Hills City. And it's famous also for a cafe up there, which has some local residents, some peacocks that just kind of move around the place, and actually, they welcome you to the cafe. It sounds like a really cool place. You can go to the castle in the old town. You can go to, there's monuments. You can look at the Roman ruins in Lisbon. Lisbon's a pretty amazing city. I was really impressed. And there's lots of shops. There's one called the LX Factory, where it's open till 2:00 in the morning. And it's open, for retailers who sell artsy crafts, fashion, whatever, but it's open like almost all night. And that's the LX Factory. So that's day 3 in Lisbon. Day 4, you want to continue along the coastline and go to a place called Estoril. And that's a fishing, it's Estoril coastline, and the village is called Cascais. Cascais. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but you'll see it's in the article. But there's restaurants and shops and parks, and it's just a really beautiful expat community there. According to International Living, this is where a lot of people are living in Cascais. The other place to go to is Sintra, and that's got a Moorish castle. It's a Palace of Pina, another palace called Monserrate. These all sound like gorgeous places, and just don't take my word for it. Go check out the article. There's some really good pictures there, and also you can go to get the report, and that's internationalliving.com/60andme, and you can just ask them to send you their latest report, which is on retiring in Europe. One of the places people don't often think about. Think it's maybe too not affordable, but International Living knows better, so check it out. Now, day 5. Okay, we're getting close to 7, but it's best is yet to come. In Évora, you can spend one night there, and it's the Roman temple. There's a cathedral there, and also there's this very mysterious, they call it the Chapel of Bones. It's made out of skeletons, and it sounds kind of eerie, but it's fascinating. But this is a place where you'll find these kinds of really intriguing things to view. Food, I have to look at some of the spelling here. It's the Favara Real de Caca, which is a beans stew. And this one is Sopa d'Elba Groegas, which is purslane, which I've never heard of, but it's a seaweed or a weed, but they make this into a soup, which is amazing for you, physically. I mean, it's good for you and also tastes great. But this is the kind of thing when you travel, isn't it? You see these new things, you want to try them, and they turn out to be fabulous. The food apparently in this part of the world is just great. Now, and they even give some recommendations for hotels in the article. I looked one up, and it looks really good. And the prices are amazingly reasonable. So just check that out. Day 6. Okay, day 6 again is on the southern coast of Portugal. This is the Algarve. This is where you may be familiar with that name because it is the Riviera of Portugal. Beautiful beaches, white beaches, and they say to go to Évora. That's the Portugal South. That's what it's called. And you could just lie on the beach. I mean, why not? It's like an amazing place. So you can cruise apparently on a pirate ship to watch dolphins and whales. But it's really the place after 5 days of, looking and exploring to settle down, just relax by the beach. That's the Algarve, day 6. Day 7. Day 7 is Faro and Tavira. And again, you would spend your last night here. Now, Faro is a little bit east, and in Faro, you can visit a cork factory. And again, Portugal is really well known for its cork. I bought a cork necklace, not this one, but I bought a necklace there. And they say that it represents or manufactures 80% of the world's cork from Portugal. Didn't know that. But Tavira was one town that they recommend, is noted for its 37 churches. And another thing they point out is that Seville is only 100 miles from there. So you're very close to other parts of Spain, that are just neighbors. So Portugal is very central in some ways. Then, of course, where are you going to go home after 7 days? If you can pull yourself away, you may just stay. But if you want to fly, you can fly home from Faro, which has an international airport, or you can go back to Porto and fly home if you had a return flight from Porto. So it's just another place that you have maybe not considered for retiring abroad. As I said, you can find out more about it in the report of Europe, retiring in Europe, International Living's website, internationalliving.com/60andme. And just read the thing through, just to have a glass of wine and just read it through cover to cover, because it will give you so much inspiration. So have you ever thought about going to Portugal, either for a 7-day visit, or to retire? I must admit, after I was there for that short time in Porto, I was very tempted, and I will go back because it is a gorgeous place. And again, it's very affordable and very approachable, and you do feel like you're at home. So thanks to International Living for providing such great resources on this beautiful place. And in fact, there's so many others in Europe too that you'll find in their report. So please check it out. And thank you so much for sharing this, letting me have this opportunity to share Portugal with you. It's a very special place. And I'm happy that International Living was able to help us discover it more. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take very good care. Bye-bye for now.